gentlemen, Dying Light 2 is not very good. I feel like that's a fairly controversial take, given the game's ratings, which are honestly pretty okay. However, in my modest opinion, and I'm no stranger to controversial takes, I've had several on this channel before, not just for the sake of controversy. I feel like I argue my points well. Whether people agree or disagree with them is, you know, their prerogative, doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, I think I have what are, for me personally, good arguments for this, and really for most of my controversial takes, but what I'm saying is it's up to personal preference. I feel like I do a fairly okay job of articulating what I mean, and I'm going to try and do the same here, except Dying Light is a pretty big game. It's a pretty big franchise, and there's a lot of things to cover. So, you know, let's get to it, I suppose. Interesting. Never noticed this here before. Alright. I feel like Dying Light 2 is, in many ways, a straight-up downgrade from Dying Light 1. Now, not in all ways, obviously, just in a fair few. And I just realised while recording this, oh, hello. While recording this, I'm having some frame rate issues. The game plays fine when I'm not recording, so I apologise. Put up with it. Ouch. Actually, the same issues that I just mentioned are kind of not great for my combat abilities. Anywho. Probably should record the gameplay separately. I feel like Dying Light 2 in many ways is a downgrade from the old Dying Light game. And the Steam reviews would seem to agree. Now, they don't suggest that this is a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It has like 70-something%, I think, positive reviews, which is great. Until you look at Dying Light 1's positive reviews, and I think they're in the 90s. Mind you, the game did have more time in the oven, it was patched, it did have some DLC, though I feel like the one major story piece of DLC that it received didn't do the game any favours. I really like that one. But let's get into it a little bit more in depth, shall we? So, what are some good points about Dying Light 2 that I prefer to the original game? Well, the parkour system tries to be more fluid. It also has some bugs, but it tries to be a little bit more fluid. The combat system actually... It feels a little bit faster, and it feels a little bit more fluid. So, credit where credit is due, I'm going to give it points on that. Visually, the world is gorgeous. It is an upgrade, and in typical YouTuber fashion, I think I picked the worst time and the worst lighting to showcase this, but in the mornings and in the afternoons, and sort of morning and noon, sort of afternoon it gets sort of a bit gloomy like this. It's not exactly showing off its full colours, but morning and noon, this game looks bloody gorgeous. The lighting carries perhaps 80-90% of that, but the building design as well is really, really detailed and pretty. The texture quality in general is also quite satisfactory. The game looks great, but that's the problem. It looks good. How's that a problem, Joe? Well, it doesn't do much more than try and look good, is the problem, right? By the way, it looks good during the day. The nights are ridiculously bright. Now, I know that one of the main criticisms for Dying Light 1 was that the game is too dark. And what, now it's too bright for you? I like dark games, both in a morally ambiguous sense, I guess in a atmospheric sense, and also in the literal sense of lighting. I think dark games are awesome because it creates atmosphere relatively easily and without much in the way of effort, right? You just make a game dark and you're well on your way to having some intense, frightening moments. This is as dark as the outside gets in this game. I'll be honest with you, I don't really see a difference between this and a couple of hours ago in game time when it was daytime. Of course, the gameplay differences sort of make night a little bit more important and a little bit more, I don't know if I should say terrifying, because it's not exactly scary, but they make it nighttime a little bit more dangerous, for sure. And that is the fact that you are infected, and, well, the nighttime makes you turn. Matter of fact, staying in unlit areas in general will make you turn. And that's not great for you, but it's also not great for the game, because it sort of artificially very often makes it so that you need to get out of the nighttime into the light, and I feel like what that does is it basically takes the emphasis away from your experience and the horror elements of Dying Light to a timer, to a 5-minute timer above my head that says I need to leave or I'm dead. There's also that problem which I've noticed. I'll talk about that occasionally. I'll talk about that in a second. I've noticed that parkour looks better and it looks faster, but it doesn't feel better. What do I mean by that? Well, the movement is a little bit floaty, and the animations are a little bit weird in some spots. Now, most of the time like this, it's okay, but then you're gonna walk on something that's like this, and yeah, I'm hovering in the air right now, as you can see. Dying Light didn't have this problem, and Dying Light had it, well, it was much less of a problem in Dying Light. Also, the night was bloody terrifying, because of volatiles, right? I remember the first few times I had to go out at night, it was terrifying. I would not be caught dead doing this. And this is the start of the game where I'm at my weakest, and yeah, I'm just running around at nighttime. See, conceptually, this is good. You force the players to move around more at night, but you force them also to be tense because, oh, there's a timer and I might die if I'm not quick enough, and yada yada yada. All of that's great on paper. In reality, what this does is just makes nighttime a little bit harmless, because, yeah, I'm on the street level, there's a walker there, and some down here, and okay. There's even a hiding place here for me. How much more well-used this hiding place would have been if there were a bunch of volatiles chasing after me. But there aren't. And yes, maybe some later areas in the game have more dangerous creatures and so on and so forth, but remember the Dying Light's first night? The first night the game forces you to go out? You pick up some medicine and, well, all of a sudden it's disaster. Night has fallen and the creatures are coming after you. They're big, they're fast, they're mean, they're scary, and holy hell. Here, that's it. They're just... It's a zombie that runs fast. And the way you fight it is kind of similar to the way you fight humans in the game. Yeah. It lost most of its terror elements. And there are some areas in which it does really well. I haven't played through a lot of the story, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that the story is really good. Dying Light had, I think, a slightly better story, all things considered. I think it took itself a little bit more seriously than this does. Even though, yes, there is death and tragedy here as well, Dying Light's story made me really care about those characters. This game's characters are a little bit more forgettable. I mean, Hakon is memorable because he helps you about 50 times at the beginning and saves your life, and that sort of endears you, or sorry, endears him to you a little bit, but in way of personality is, most of them are kind of a lot of the people you help are a little bit silly, and yes, Dying Light originally did have its fair share of silliness, and that's fine, but some of the gravitas is missing.
Chemical bombings almost killed everyone in
This is the end of the world. This is the final city of humanity. Except you learn that it kind of isn't. There's people out there, right? There's different settlements out there. I mean, this is the last big city, but people are making it. They're resilient, so some of the stakes are lost. And then a lot of the jobs you do, it's like, okay, I've restored power to this segment of the city. I can now access the metro. Hooray. Now what? Well, I guess people are a little bit more happier with their lives. Are they? Can I really see that? Not really. So, In Dying Light, you had one tower. Well, okay, you had other settlements again as well, but you were based in one tower. And that was it. You brought food and medicine to the tower, all of a sudden you feel like you've saved a whole bunch of people. You feel like if you hadn't done that, they would have died. You feel like your actions mattered a heck of a lot more. Here, sure enough, the main storyline has some important things, but even the main character's motivations, like, I want to find my sister. Fair enough. It's a personal motive, that's good, but Kyle Crane, everything he did was to save a whole building full of people. Everything I'm doing here is to find a girl. It's not the same gravitas, and yes, even if I'm helping the city a whole bunch along the way, it's still I know people are criticizing the game a lot for advertising itself, like all the choices that you make matter, like where are you going to do, where are you going to send the water, what part of the city are you going to send the electricity to, and so on and so forth. And that in reality they don't really. That's what people are saying, at least. That it sort of advertises like all of your choices matter, and in the end, yeah, like really most of them don't. Which is unfortunate, but even with that criticism completely ignored, I feel like Dying Light 2 just did a better job of everything, of creating the narrative, of creating characters. Visually it was less, and dear Lord in heaven, somehow I think the creatures of Dying Light 1 were a little bit more interesting as well. I mean, volatiles here are scary, and they're big, and don't get me wrong, all of that's fine and dandy, but my character being a pilgrim and being, a pilgrim for several years can move pretty quickly. Thus, I can avoid them relatively easily, and I am playing on the hardest difficulty as well, which I think is very important. And thus, even on the hardest difficulty, the creatures of the night can just sort of sod off, basically. Even with, like, 2 or 3 of the most basic parkour upgrades, they have no chance of keeping up. The volatiles in Dying Light, yeah, you can swing around as much as you want, they're gonna keep up, at least at the start of the game. Later down the line, the game obviously, as you get more powerful, becomes less scary. You get the grappling hook, they get it towards the end of the game, so, yeah, you get the grappling hook, you get a whole bunch of skills, you can even fight volatiles at that point, en masse, and it's fine, and it's kind of a natural evolution, right? Now I'm better, now I'm more powerful, ergo they're less scary. And that's fine, I'm fine with them being less scary, because I've made it there organically. Here, they're not scary to begin with. I mean, one of the most tensest moments was in the hospital with Harkon so far, and there all I had to do was dodge a bunch of sleeping walkers, and yeah, one of the volatiles showed up, fair enough, but so what? The chase scene with him lasted about 2 seconds, and the game even has like chase levels, where different like amounts of volatiles and stuff will chase after you, but it's almost inconsequential because I'll just do this, and I'll run away from them. They'll lose my trail. Or maybe they'll continue chasing me, but they'll be miles behind, and all I'll have to do is just find the nearest safe zone, which is pretty gosh darn close. Yeah. And then there's the fact that, like I said, the parkour system looks good, but then... Aha. Saw that? That's not meant to happen. That's not my character slipping. That's the movement being janky. On mouse and keyboard. You tend to sort of slide around a little bit, which makes sense if you're running at high speed, but even if I'm trying to move slowly, there's a weird sort of delay, and I don't know, it just feels a bit weird. It feels a bit off. Environmental combat is still very much a thing, and is by far the most enjoyable way of killing things. And then, even that's sort of a little bit mucked up, because, see, you have the kick ability, which, in my modest opinion, is one of the most fun ways of dealing with enemies. You have the jump kick, which I can't do right now, but in Dying Light, the jump kick was extremely powerful. You would get on top of something, jump, and then kick. Here I unlock that ability, but I'm not quite sure how to do it. It's a little bit different here. Anyways, you can kick enemies onto, like, spikes like this. Yeah, I just kicked 2 of them, but I still got hit. The kick, although it pushes the enemy back, doesn't stop the attack animation. And it, even though the body that you kicked him physically far away from you, you're still going to take damage, even though his blow didn't land. And it's the same with walkers and with humans. That's a really weird design choice. It's like, it's a way to nerf the kick ability to the point where it's not a viable form of defense. Because if someone's charging to hit you, you can't just kick them back. Why not? I mean, I find that a little bit more fun than dodging. Plus, there's a cooldown on the kick. So, let's say these 2 walkers attack me at the same time. Come on. I can kick one, but the other one will get me. Thus, kicking there is not viable. You're better off dodging like this. Or like this. That's fine. Why not implement both? Why castrate the kick like that? Because, okay, here's the attack coming. Okay, I mucked up that one. But the point is, if the attack animation starts, and the game decides you're going to take damage, it doesn't matter when you kick him. Him being knocked back is not going to stop you from taking damage. Honestly, not ideal. These are tiny little details. I'm basically nitpicking here. One of the amazing things that the game does is this. You can go inside windows. It makes movement so much more fluid. These ropes as well. It's so much faster and so much more fluid. It's great. But for everything that it does right, there's a problem behind that. And the problem is, I guess, during the daytime, you're not really supposed to go in there because that's where the walkers are, but you can. They're way too slow to react, again on the hardest difficulty. Even though some of them are runners, you can just go in there and they'll follow you outside for about 2 meters and then they'll get lost. Because you're just quick. And I'm fine with my character being, that good and that powerful that he can outrun any creature out there. But why not do that gradually, like in Dying Light? Why do I have to start being this ultimate quick badass and then just get better at the game? I don't know. Seems a bit weird.
People will always complain. We're alive,
also,
and that's what counts.
I mean, the city is gorgeous. It's also messy, but that's on purpose. And what I mean by that is like the foliage and the heaps of trash, right? But literally messy. That makes sense because, it's been ages since civilization worked the way we understand it and the way we perceive it today. It all sort of fell apart, and yeah, of course, as a result of this, the city is going to be messy. But it's not it's almost not as fun. It's kind of, I don't know, it's hard to put a finger on it. Again, these areas like this are incredibly entertaining. The fact that I can pick a fight with this thing, and then, I don't know, like, head upstairs, and there's more things here, and I'll just leave out the window. And oh no, they're level 2, or they're rank 2, which is far above me. I've stirred the hornet's nest. And then nothing. Why not put a few volatiles inside basements of buildings or something? You know, why not do something like that? Why not keep it? Why not like kick the difficulty factor up to 20? You know, because thus far most of the challenge comes from combat, which is it's all right. It's not bad. Good bit of the challenge comes from fighting humans, which, alright, I guess makes sense. If we are surviving and all of that. And then, here's the thing. Those guys down there, I just escaped. Okay, I didn't. But I had to stop and wait for them to come get me, right? That's... Okay, let's just run straight down the street for like 10 seconds. And yeah, they're doing an alright job following me. Mind you, they're rank 2. But can they catch up to me? Like, not really. Are they any real threat? Well, they're a heck of a lot less of a threat than the bandits were in the previous games. I don't really know what to tell you. I do like the throwing spear, though. That's pretty nifty. There you go. And then we get to sort of the rest of the combat, and that is the weapons. A lot of them are the same as they were in Dying Light, with the modifications, and, you know, different types of blunt and bladed weapons and stuff. But they decided to remove firearms in their entirety. I don't think that's such a good thing, honestly. I understand what they were going for. They wanted to turn humanity into this sort of medieval society with spears and crossbows, and you do get crossbows, which is, I guess, one form of ranged combat along with those spears, so yeah, it's sort of still present, but weapons were mostly not in Dying Light until you got them, and then you could buy some and stuff, and they were really rare, which made them awesome, because here's the thing, they weren't all powerful. Against walkers and against monsters, they were like, yeah, they were alright. You were better off most of the time using melee, but you could use them against humans, and they would react in different ways to you having a firearm, and sometimes they would run away because, well, I'm not going to attack a guy with an assault rifle, you know, with a baton. That's idiotic. I'm just going to run away. That was bloody amazing, right? It really was. And here it's just, it's gone. There's no weapons in the entirety of the game. To be fair, this isn't a terrible video game. It's far from it. It's not even like, I'm not even giving it a bad review, quote unquote, even though it's a review, in the sense that I wouldn't recommend that you pick it up and play it. No, it's fine. But here's the thing, like, I can't help but get the feeling that every time I boot it up, I go, man, I kind of want to go and play Dying Light 1 now. That was a little bit more fun. That was a little bit more scary. That was like, that was a little bit more, period. That's not great for the game. Also, I gotta say, I enjoyed the monster variety a little bit more in Dying Light, which I didn't thought would be possible, because, you know, this game has, I think, a bigger budget, and you'd expect them to sort of, you know, already have the monsters from the first game, and then maybe just add a few new ones, and yeah, later down the line you do get new ones. There's screamers are present early on, which weren't, I think, in Dying Light. They got introduced gradually, but most of the time when you're running around, you're not going to see any of that in the daytime. And at night, all of the special monsters are conveniently marked on the map for you. Come on, like, throw me a few special ones that I don't know about, that I don't see, that, you know, just want to rip my spleen out. That I have no idea where they are, or what they're doing, or what their special abilities are. Like, very early on in Dying Light 1, if you remember, you get to fight one of those huge, tanky undead. And then they come back with sort of different equipment and different suits and stuff. And then there was the one with,
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Slowpoke. What? Your brain's as slow as your feet, Slowpoke? Talk to me, Slowpoke.
oh, up there, okay. And then there was the one with, they were like regular walkers, but they had armor on. All of that was fascinating.
What's your problem?
All of that
Maybe I'm wrong.
was really
Maybe
fun
you're
to
faster
discover
than a
and
rocket. Let's find out.
experience as they
What are you
get
babbling
sort of
about?
gradually
A
introduced.
wager. Race you to the roof?
Now it's,
Bet you I can get there before you.
I don't know,
Unless you're afraid of losing.
just not there.
Wouldn't blame you if you were.
But I think one of the main factors for me is
Sorry,
that nighttime
I'm
just
broke.
isn't scary anymore.
Ooh,
And I don't
you
know
are
if
afraid,
maybe
ain't you,
in the
Slowpoke?
final zone of the game, nighttime gets scarier because there's more volatiles around. It's not the point. The point is I have to go through hours upon hours of the game to get to maybe a scary moment. Whereas in Dying Light, at the start of the game, when you didn't, you know, when you really didn't know a lot about it, you walk out at night, you're doomed. Right? You walk out at night, you are just... That's not a good thing. That is very much not a good thing. I remember I played a co-op with a good friend of mine, Luke. At the time, sounds like we've killed each other or something. No, just at the time I played it with a good friend of mine called Luke. And I remember, I think me or was it him or me? I think I got lost at some point in some tunnel. And the thing is, you're constantly being chased. You don't exactly have the luxury of stopping and opening up your map to figure out where you are. So, you know, it was freaking phenomenal. I think I even made a couple of videos about Dying Light 1 on sort of a similar topic on the channel. That was great, like, and you learned how to slide fairly early on in the game as well, and, you know, you would have a volatile on your back, you could press... was it QTEs that sort of let you did that, or was there a button to turn, like, to quickly look behind you? I don't exactly remember, but there were situations where you quickly look behind you like this to see what's there, and, you know, there'd be a bunch of stuff chasing after you, and you would slide underneath something, and it was awesome. Here you get that as well. You get the awesome movement, don't get me wrong, like, you know, jump and then roll, and then, I don't know, grab onto this, you know, let's recreate something like that, maybe. You know, grab onto this over here, and slide underneath there, and, I don't know, like...
A tale of heroes.
Sit down and listen to this guy? No, that's sort of broke character there. You know, slide underneath something and so on. But the problem is, in the first game, they would chase after you across all of that. They would, you know, maybe you would slide underneath some wooden fence or something. They would break through the fence. How awesome was that? It sort of really emphasized, in many different ways, the power disparity between you two. Like, you were just out there to survive. They were the hunters in the night, right? And then the power dynamic would change. That's fine. Right? It's fine there's changes. It's just that it's there at the start. And you work towards something. Becoming powerful feels so much more important. So much more interesting. Here, it's a little bit more like... I don't know. What's the point of leveling up? What's the point of practicing my parkour skills? Nothing can catch me. I'm gonna get the grappling hook, I think, eventually in the game. Why? It's gonna make going from A to B a little bit faster, don't get me wrong, but, like, I can jump from here to... Okay, I screwed that up a little bit because I jumped early, but I can jump from here to here, and most zombies, from what I've seen, can't do that. They have to go down and they have to climb, and climbing takes time. Even if they can, by the time they've done that, I'm 4 blocks away. Game's easy, the game's too light. The lighting is great during the day, but the nights aren't dark enough to be scary. The game's... I don't know. It's just not that great. It's not that great. It feels in pretty much every way like a downgrade from the original Dying Light. In all the, like, meaningful gameplay ways. Visually, like I said, it's gorgeous, especially the long-distance terrain. Oh god, I mean, look at that. Look at that building over there. Even through binoculars, which don't magnify much at all, but help you mark things. That looks gorgeous, right? Even the hills over there, that looks gorgeous. The starting level of the game where you're in the wilderness outside of the city, that's freaking phenomenal as well. And you get to that end of the world party, and, you know, the lighting, the way the sun goes in through the windows and all of that. Just beautiful. Really, just beautiful. But beautiful's fine. I like pretty games, but there's more to the gameplay than there's more to a game than just looks. This gameplay's sort of important too. And like I said, not a bad game, just doesn't feel right, you know. That doesn't feel like Dying Light. And I shouldn't be too critical of it, even though I pretty much am. Because it's been a long, long time since Dying Light 1 released, and the game absolutely deserves a sequel. Dare I say it deserves a better sequel than this? Well, yes, I do, but... It does deserve a better sequel, but it also deserves something. And in the game, Kyle Crane is mentioned, passingly here and there, at least so far he was mentioned. I don't know if he makes a more concrete appearance. I know he doesn't appear in the game, but I don't know if his name makes a more concrete appearance, and there's more references to him. I've read some fan theory videos and stuff. I would love for him to return as the main protagonist. That'd be grand. I would love for him to return in really any capacity. I think that'd be great, even if we had to kill him because he's a volatile now or something. That'd be fine too. But besides that, I would sort of, you know, Crane returning is fine, but I'd rather have a lot of Dying Light 1 returning with him, you know, in terms of the gameplay and the movement and the combat and all of those things. Just, yeah. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, I've been ranting on for, I think, quite a while now. There are things that this game does well. There are ideas that I really, really like. One of the main ones that I found really enjoyable is that it gives you more to do during nighttime. So nighttime isn't as scary, fair enough, but it gives you more to do during the night. Now that's great. For example, there's only monsters there that you can fight in the anomaly during the nighttime. There's special areas that are much more easily accessed during the nighttime. Like this is usually empty, so you can run through these hallways, and buildings usually are empty during the nighttime because all the zombies go outside. That's grand. That really is. That's grand. It gives you more reasons to run around at night. Dying Light 1 had, I think, a better day and night system where the night was a little bit different and a little bit more terrifying. But at the same time, you didn't have that many reasons to be out at night. sure enough, there were some supply drops, there were some missions that forced you to go out at night, but free roaming, there wasn't really much of a reason for you to be outside during the night. This game gives you a lot more reason to go out and risk it. And I'm all for that, I think that's great. But, you know, if we can take some of this and put it into Dying Light 1, or, you know, vice versa, take a lot of, take some of the elements from Dying Light 1, like the darker nights, the more scarier animals, the harder difficulty, the weapons, everything else. If we can put that in here, I think we'd have a kick-ass Dying Light 3 game. Though I do appreciate the innovation, I really do. I do appreciate the fact that they tried something else, and they didn't just make a carbon copy of the previous game. They did try something new, and they did improve a number of things. It's also the unfortunate fact that they've lost a lot of the way. Yeah, that's not exactly ideal. That's also pretty interesting, the fact that it looked like I wasn't supposed to be able to take him out like that, and then I did. Alright. And I've lost them. Look at that. Or at least I've lost them to the point where I can heal not only once, but twice. Hardest difficulty, by the way. Hardest difficulty. What's the best weapon I have? I have this bill hook. I want to try it. Oh, yeah, bill hook looks nice. Bill hook looks really nice. Throwing things at me. It's very, 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 very rude. Stop it! How dare you? Okay, there we go. Anywho, I think that's about it from me for this video. I feel like I covered most of the things that I wanted to talk about.
Will you get a load of that?
The game's not bad in any sense of the word. I'm maybe being a little bit unfair to it, but it's not that good. There's a difference between not bad and good. Overall, if I had to put a numerical rating on it, I think the Steam reviews do it justice, like about 7. Maybe because I'm so nostalgic about Dying Light, the original Dying Light, and I love the game so much, maybe a little bit less. I complain about the game being too easy, but yeah, there you go. Combat's not that easy. Combat's not that easy, though with the frame drops, it's, I'm not gonna lie, it's significantly more difficult. Also, the different revive options are pretty damn interesting. Anywho, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents. It's a very, very lengthy video. I don't want to take up any more of your time. That's about it. Have fun, take care, and tell me what you think about Dying Light 2 and what I've said in the comments down below. I mean, it's entirely possible that you completely disagree with me and think that the game's awesome in every way, and that sorry, that it shouldn't change, and it's better than Dying Light 1, whatever. That's entirely fair. I'm saying this just from my perspective and how I feel about it. I see a lot of people agreeing with me in Steam reviews as well. Like they recommend the game, but you know, there's with a bit of reserve. Let's see. So with a pinch of salt, if you will. So yeah, I kind of feel like the same. It's a fun game. There's a lot to do, and to be completely fair, maybe the storyline gets much better towards the end. I don't know. But so far, this is all I have to judge it off of, and yeah. Not bad, not great, is what I'm going to say. Though, I will say, the one thing I really do like is the fact that I think this area was, yeah, I think this was the hospital where I got the nano-tracker. Oh, the nano-tracker, the bio-tracker, bio-something. And I can go back into it. Or at least a good part of it. Like, that's the bus I came in. I like that a lot. I like that a lot, that it doesn't, you know, the moment you're done with an area, it doesn't just wall it off, you can go back to it. That's very nice. That's something Dying Light the original one did. Once you were done with an area in the main story mission, you couldn't go back to it. Like, a lot of the areas were just one-time kind of thing. And I think going back to them in free roam would have been kind of interesting and kind of creepy too. Anyways, though, I will see you all next time. Have fun, take care, and bye.